Hello, everybody, and welcome to this presentation of the ECL Elite Division right here on Sports Gamer. My name is Tuki, joined as always by my broadcast partner, Mr. Sin, for the win. And Sin, today we wrap up our coverage here in week 3 of our spring season here, the 22 season, of course. And what a season it's been so far. And in today's action, we're going to get to see some of those teams that we're looking at to be like, hey, you're doing better than we thought. And hey, wow, you're kind of struggling a little bit.
Yeah, and that's kind of in this first matchup where ZSC, at least in a position to do better than they have in the past. They've kind of been, faltering a little bit in the past couple matchups, but then you see IQUE, and they're a team that was a 5 seed and currently right now in dead last. So they're definitely going to, have their work cut out for them. But here's a ZSC matchup where they have a chance to improve their fortunes and knock ZSC a bit further down the standings.
As always, there's a lot going on around the league today, not just the matchups that we'll be covering here, of course, as Sin mentioned, ZSC Esports taking on IQUE. A little bit later on, our defending champions in H-Reds will take on Havu Gaming. It is a new era for Havu, and not exactly off to a flying start, but as we know, things can turn around rather quickly. Sin, any other matchups that catch your eye in today's action?
Really, I've been very interested in checking out the Fallon Coal Miners. They've had such a crazy start to this season as well. Obviously, Conquer too, being where they are. So there's the two kind of more dark horse underdog teams that are going to be very interesting to keep our eyes on moving forward.
Absolutely. And of course, a look at what's gone on around the league recently as well. Some of the results heading into today's action. ZSC fresh off of a 1-1 split over HV71, who continue to surprise in quite a few ways. And again, IQUE, who will be in action here. 1 point out of a possible 4 against Vaskala in their most recent matchup. That brings us to the current standings. And again, the big thing so far this season, the rather large discrepancy in the amount of games played for some of these teams. HV71 already over the halfway mark of their season, as are YMCA Esports, where Sin, you mentioned a team like IQUE currently in last, but they, along with Verlunda, still in single digits in terms of games played.
Yeah, and that's, the discrepancy has been absolutely massive. So you think about it, it's like you still have, some kind of room to make up here. But then, if you think about this latter half of the season, could be absolutely wild for a lot of teams, because at the end of this third week, this is technically our midpoint of the season here. And we still have teams, like you said, at 10 games or below, which is, 10 games is the 1/3 mark of the year. So there's a lot of games, but they could come very, very quickly for these guys.
Again, a 30-game regular season. Left-hand side of the bracket is where you want to find yourselves at the conclusion of those games. The top 8 make the playoffs, and of course, that doesn't just mean that the teams on the right side are looking forward to next year. Some of them, of course, will have to fight for their survival in this division heading into our 23 season this fall. For now, let's focus on the task at hand. Our first matchup today, again, it is the 2-game set between ZSC Esports and IQUE. And Sin, we talked about it. We've seen ZSC in action a couple of times already this season. Not quite off to that high-flying start, but I don't believe, at least I haven't gotten to cover IQUE yet, at least not overly in-depth. And certainly from the outside looking in, I look at these numbers, and it's just a question of what has gone wrong for this club.
Yeah, they really shocked the ECL world last season by, being projected pretty far down and getting that 5 seed. And they were very, kind of vocal about that as well. But here in this one, it's just, it doesn't look like their defense has been too bad, but the offense is just not there whatsoever. I mean, they're here with 8 games played and 9 goals for. That's, really abysmal when you think about it for offensive production. Their power play isn't clicking quite obviously, and they got plenty of chances judging by that percentage here. It's, something's got to give here for IQUE.
With that, let's take a look at the lineups here for this matchup. For Zurich, you have the front 3 reunited, Kermit, Snus, and I dangled you out back in the lineup after sitting out in favor of Freeman on Monday's broadcast. Tony and Haldim on defense back in, and we will see Fightlocka once more rather than Chich. So an interesting move there. Of course, we saw some interesting results for Fightlocka. We'll get into that in a few moments. He's played, I believe, the last 4 games for the team. For the IQ side of things, Niepi, Ikavalko, and Jurgeli, your front three. Nico and Pottsberg on defense with Teme in goal. And we'll start off, as we always do, with that center matchup, and maybe the most intriguing matchup that we have here. A really strong start to the season, Sin, for Original Snus and Ikavalko. Well, through 8 games, under that point per game pace where you want to be.
Yeah, he's the goal leader for IQ with 4, so that's a little bit of a bright spot in him. One of the very few to be able to put the puck in the net with any sort of consistency here. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Original Snus has been very, very monstrous for his team. 15 points in 12 games played, and as a center, that's really good to see. You'd probably like to have that face-off percentage a little bit higher, but at the same vein, again, producing relatively well.
We'll move over to the winger matchup here next. Again, left wing for ZSC. Kermit, the new addition this season, off to a very strong start. And of course, as always, maybe the largest arms in the elite division there with Alex. A very strong start this season as well. And again, on the other side for IQ, just not that offensive output that you would have expected. Since just 1 goal for each of the 2 wingers.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see for IQ, but I like what you did right there for I dangled you out. Mention the arms and then say, a very strong start right there. Definitely a bit of an understatement. 20 points in 10 games played, 2 points per game. That's absolutely fantastic there for the ZSC winger, and we all know his style includes more than just that. 38 hits, uses that bigger power forward build, loves to run around and throw his weight around there. So not a guy who can not only produce points, but create transitions as well. And yeah, back on the topic of, Jurgeli and Niepi there, it's, again, they're simply not able to find the back of the net. Just, 1 goal apiece, as you said, and the points just aren't there. It's just this IQ squad just hasn't really been to get into any sort of offensive rhythm.
And on the defensive side for ZSC, we start off with Tony and Hall Deem, and of course, Nico and Pottsberg in for IQ, and send some really impressive numbers for the ZSC defense pairings.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we talk about when we say, what do you need for, a good team to be, get into a playoff team? It's, well, just this. Everyone kind of producing, especially on the back end, while still maintaining a pretty good shutdown. I'd say the defense and goaltending of ZSE could still use some work, but they are getting points from that back end, which oftentimes they're able to have been outscoring their opponent. But as we sort of mentioned, the last couple of games, I think they got shut out twice against, I want to say it was Conquer. In the last broadcast. I could be wrong on that, but they got shut out twice on broadcast, which is definitely something that they didn't want to see. So maybe their offense at a bit of a lull right now, and that's where we kind of think IQ may have the capability to work, to flex their defensive muscles and find their goal scoring touch, and perhaps get a few points out of this.
Sin, I had to look it up. It was Urboro Hockey this past
I was going to say that, and then something told me it's to Conquer. I don't know.
Well, really quickly, if we can go off point here, can we throw it back to the current standings, and then we'll go back to the goaltenders, just to cover Sin. Look at the amount of red.
There's so much red. Thank you.
Like, that's something I've noticed all season long. I'm like, okay, let's, we get the Fallon Coal Miners. They're back. Yippee Voskala back in this main division. Mistakes can be made in terms of colors. We'll throw it over to the goaltending battle here again. Our last head-to-head for this matchup. And again, Fight Locka back in between the pipes for ZSC against Teme on the other side. Sin both under that magical 80% save percentage so far.
Yeah, and I'd say in the last broadcast, Fight Locka maybe looking not super certain in his crease. So, he's definitely going to be looking for that rhythm in this one here. And as you said, both these guys want to get up to that, 80% scoring mark. But, Teme has been in the elite for, a fair amount of time and has been playing in the ECL for a fair amount of time. So, definitely an experienced goaltender and someone that IQ is, really going to look towards to provide that anchor back there as they try to find that rhythm on the offensive side of the puck.
So with that, we are just a few moments away here from puck drop. Again, the 2-game regular season series between these 2 clubs. And of course, we have so much going on throughout the elite division. Of course, again, we mentioned all those other games that are going on today. We'll do our best to give you those results. And of course, as always, if we kind of struggle to keep up with the fact that we have essentially every team in action today. Sportsgamer.gg, your best place to be able to keep up with everything going on in the ECL. Of course, not just in our elite division, but the pro division as well. And below that, of course, it's always a busy time, Sin, during one of these seasons. But as we talked about, very big matchup here. And again, a reminder as well, sportsgamer.gg, all the information that you need on the Wilhelm e-Hockey Tour. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's Turku this weekend. Of course, they have events every weekend all around Finland, so keep that in mind. And there you go. We got it. We nailed it. Since as we get ready for this matchup here, we always talk about, 30 games, you got time. But then as you move forward, all of a sudden, you find yourself with 10 games left, 5 games left, and you're looking back at a series like this to say, we really needed to pick up points there.
Yeah, and this is the time where, as we mentioned, momentum's going to be extremely important here, and your mentality from match to match, as we saw so many teams still at only, about 10 games played. Some teams have crossed that halfway point, but again, that means you're going to have a very kind of back heavy, part of your schedule here, where you're going to be playing 20 games over the next 3 weeks, whereas you only played, 10 over the course of these first 3 weeks. So that's going to be, kind of a lot of hockey in a, small amount of time. So that latter half is going to feel even more hectic than it already would in a, kind of a normal 15 to 15 game split between the first and second half of the season here. But, some teams may prefer that, he maybe allows you to maintain that rhythm even more. So we'll have to see what that means for some of those teams on that right-hand side of the bracket.
Absolutely. No, Sid, unfortunately, we've had an issue with one of the players on one of the teams losing their internet connection, so we will have a relobby here. But we'll point it out since it is on screen, of course. Use hashtag eHockeyMoments on Twitter and Instagram. We want to see the best and the worst of your experiences with NHL 22. And, of course, you'll have the opportunity to walk away with some IQ fuel. So, yes, indeed, when it comes to the best moments, maybe the bar is a little bit low, but when it comes to the worst moments, you could indeed end up with stuff. And there we go. They are relobbied. The puck has dropped, and we are good to go. It is IQ in, how would you describe that shade of green for their home jerseys?
At least it's not red shade of green.
Fair enough. Feel like we're gonna get trolled, and everyone's gonna go with a red scheme unless they're unless they're sponsored. I don't know. Maybe IQ will change up, or maybe a team like Havu will change up the color scheme just to really stick it to us. There's a shot on there, stopped by Fightlocker. And again, listen, off of what we saw with ZSC, again, they played HV71 off broadcast, end up with the split there, but this is a really big matchup here. That momentum can continue to spiral.
Yeah, absolutely. I think momentum is going to be massive in this matchup here. As both these teams are kind of looking for a little bit of that as a nice attempt for the one-timer. Kermit intercepts it. He'll lead the rush back the other way.
Yeah, good pass here. Puck down low. Back in front. Good opportunity. Better save there by Teme. That was I dangled you out again. Huge for him to be back in the lineup. He is rocking the golden helmet. Interesting pass out there from Fightlocker, trying to get ZSC going right back down the other way. This one's going to go all the way around, just held in by Haldeem. Sauces one all the way through the slot from the point. You don't see that too often.
I like what ZSC is doing here. They're trying to keep the pace of the game up right there. They don't want to, we were talking about momentum. I think that's a big thing right now, so that they don't want to get caught in a lull right here, but maybe a bit aggressive with the stick. That'll be, or I think Original Snus going to sit for 2 after tripping a man around, the higher slot right there.
Yeah, it was Yergely that went down. The captain, Original Snus, guilty of the infraction. So an early power play coming up for IQ. Second worst power play on the season so far, but they're against the second worst penalty kill for ZSC. So something's got to give here. Don't know what the negative way to phrase irresistible force, immovable object would be, but this is kind of the matchup that we have. So IQ going to look to get right back in. Great break up there by Haldeem. ZSC not able to maintain possession, though, and send it all the way down. D to D. Back over for Pottsburg. He keeps stepping in, sends it across. Good save there by Fightlocker. It's Nico. See what he can do. Again, trying to rifle one through. Yergely maintains possession now. Over for Pottsburg. And another opportunity. Haldeem able to take it away, but again, can't hold on to it. Yergely the spin. Niepi now holding. Final 5 seconds on this power play. Yergely the spin. Broken up one more time. We are back to 5-on-5. It is IQ still in possession. Back to the point for Nico. That's blocked. Great job by Kermit. He'll maintain for the moment. But again, not able to hold on to it. Ikavalko holds up at the point. Again, nowhere to go. Despite some zone time for IQ on that power play, not able to find a breakthrough. ZSC standing tall. Aldean brings it in, sends it to the far side. Kermit again, nowhere to go. Great poke check by Yergely. Feeds Niepi. He's going to wait for the help. Tried to send it in front again. Haldeem there to break it up. Down low one more time for Niepi. Wanted that wraparound. Hit the side of goal. Second chance. Puck bouncing. Sent over to the far side. Kick saved by Fightlaka. Ikavalko's second bid stifled. It goes out to the left. Battle along the boards. Dangled out, able to come up with it.
Excellent job of puck support right now coming out from IQ and all three zones, really. They're right there, making sure they're open for passes and getting to those loose pucks.
It's been very difficult for ZSC to get this zone time that they currently have. That shot fired wide. Niepi again able to pick it up. Already under 4 minutes to play in the period. As it will be IQ again coming up with that puck, but only momentarily. A lot of quick possession changes. Good glove there by Nico to pick that one out of the air. Yergely stepping in, looking. Toe drag scores! What an individual effort by Yergely. Incredible hands on that goal, and 1-0 for IQ.
It was a great move through the neutral zone. Just a flurry with his stick right there to get Tony moving one way. Opened up some space to the middle, did the same thing, then toe dragged. I really thought he was going to go far side. I think Fightlaka thought the same thing, but Yergely held on there through the toe drag, didn't shoot off of it, and then went to the short side on the blocker. 1-0 IQ. An amazing play by Yergely.
Huge goal there. They have gotten the better of the play. Have the initial breakthrough. Let's see how ZSC respond. Drops that puck off. Yergely's there, though, for IQ. Scramble for the puck. Haldeem again comes up with it for ZSC. Active stick. We know he's a very active physical player as well. Final 7 seconds there. Good hit by Tony to break it up. Smith sends it around. 3 seconds to go. Sent down to the far side. We will have an icing with 0.4, but Sin, not enough time for either one of the teams to do anything, so IQ will carry a 1-0 lead into the second period.
Yep, only enough time to maybe pad your stats with a face-off win, so long as it's not one of those tie-ups, I believe. And it looks like a clean win for IQ, so minor victory heading into the break, but the real victory came from this goal right here by Yergely. We're going to get another look at it. Beautiful couple moves to the forehand, then the toe drag. And again, I don't know if I just speak for myself, but I really thought he was going to do the toe drag shot right there, and the fact that he let the entire move go through and then go to the short side, I think is what kind of locked that goal in for him right there. Just an amazing job of him to skate through the neutral zone and gain the space that he needed in that offensive zone to pull that off and give IQ the 1-0 lead. That's very, very big for them. And, once again here, another period goes by on a broadcast where ZSC unable to get a ton of offense and are unable to score a goal right here, as we're looking at just how close that poke was. And it was actually very close to being a trip as well, the way his stick kind of rattled around in his feet. But once again, Yergely just holding on that toe drag and going short side, I think was a difference maker on that play. And just really, really good bit of patience from the winger of IQ to be able to give his team that advantage here heading into the second period, where ZSC is going to need to find some kind of a response.
Honestly, I'd feel a little bit frustrated if I was the defense for ZSC there. You'd think you go for that trip, save the goal at the very least, perhaps only momentarily. Doesn't go down that way. So again, IQ, the 1-0 lead here. Again, ECL Elite Division action brought to you by that elite blocker save, but also brought to you, of course, by our friends at Wilhelm, Kovan Lakritzi, and ST Hockey. We thank them for sticking with us here throughout the entirety of ECL 22, not just, of course, the spring season, but our already completed winter season as well, where, again, H-Reds completed their journey to become the first team to ever win back-to-back titles. They're looking for the three-peat this season. You'll see them in action a little bit later on here in this broadcast against, well, another set of former champions in Havu Gaming, as that one rifled in front. An interesting moment there. Not quite sure what happened. Again, it's loose in front, and it's covered by Teme.
A beautiful bit of play down low by ZSC, and yeah, I think dangled you out when he went for that slap shot. It almost looked like it came off as a slap pass to the corner boards, and it was a beautiful sauce back towards him that they failed to just connect on, and looking pretty good, though, getting some offensive zone time.
Absolutely. Here is Snus. Good shot and a better save again. The opportunity from I dangled you out. That big kick saved by Teme again in front, just wide of the post. Close calls here for IQUE, scrambling to get this one out of the zone. They finally do. Really full panic mode there. Pass in front. Haldim has it momentarily. Now Tony. Again, the top goal scorer amongst defenders so far. The lefty is in possession here. He'll dump it over to the far side. And unfortunately, straight over the glass.
Yeah, it was always a tough kind of dump from that when you're going cross corner, especially if you're not trying to land it in the corner. You got to basically aim for where that high glass starts, and easier said than done sometimes. That leads to an offside.
Off the draw. Kermit not able to hold on to that one. Another offside call here almost halfway through this period, and as a result, halfway through the game.
You can see a ZSC definitely trying to move it a lot quicker. When Kermit lost the puck right there, I think he was just trying to area sauce it to a location where I dangled you out could perhaps get to it, and just didn't have quite enough mustard on it. But I like the push we're seeing from ZSC.
Epi tried to send that one in front again, and maybe IQUE needing to look to change things up just a little bit. That one poked away by Snus. Dangled out, not able to hold on to it. Kermit again, back over for the captain. Haldim. Kermit tried to get back to the forehand, just ran out of space. Great skating there by Snus to work his way down low, battle along the boards, and it's going to be Epi who comes up with it. Good poke check, a backhand thrown on. It was intercepted.
Great forecheck coming out from ZSC right now. Really giving it to IQUE, who are struggling to get it out of the zone.
Nico does get that outlet pass. Looks like we are good to go here. Nico sends that one over to the far side. Again, the opening goal from IQUE. It was Yergely's second of the year. He's the difference maker so far. Here's Ikavalko. To the point, shot blocked down. Yergely back for Ikavalko. He's stuck on the backhand, though. Great job there by Kermit. Finds dangled you out. Has one man to beat. Draws the trip. Great work. It's going to be a penalty shot.
Oh.
Controversial, perhaps, but I dangled you out. Earns the penalty shot. He'll have a one-on-one with Teme. Again, the team's leading scorer. Let's see what he looks to do. It's the so rare penalty shot that we have here. The slow approach. Cutting back into the middle. Slap shot, scores! A classic move, and the goal to tie this one up on his 7th of the year.
You absolutely love to see it, man. I mean, a slap shot on the penalty shot to tie the game up. I dangle you out. All the confidence in the world right now. Showing everyone there's a, method to the madness of, sculpting your guns in the offseason right there. Showed it with the power on that slap shot.
Dare I say, the architect of ZSC's comeback here, as that one is going to result in a trip, and it goes from bad to worse. ZSC going to get their first power play of the game as Yergely going to the box for 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that's, situation that ZSC now can, compound some of the momentum that they gained. They just tied the game up. They have a chance to perhaps take the lead, and towards the dying end of the second, that'd be an advantageous position to be in.
ZSC's 14th ranked power play. IQUE tied for 12th, 75% on the kill. They do get that early clearance. Kermit nowhere to go. Snus able to keep it alive. Tried to find Tony, a failure to clear, and there we go. They get it on the second attempt. Great start, and unfortunate bounce there. We'll see a couple of extra seconds tick off the clock. Good movement there. Haldim does gain the line. Tried to go down low. What an interception by Nico, and right back out. And already sitting down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, it can be so hard to really establish yourself, as we see all the time when you lose that zone initially here. And I mean, some decent looks from ZSC, but finally they get established.
Here's Haldim. Maybe waited a bit too long to pull the trigger on
Another
that shot.
one,
There's another penalty. Yeah, it's going to be another 2 minutes interference. The call, Nico. The infraction this time out, and Sin, as you've said all season long, the change to the game that we've seen, simply can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and it's, maybe necessarily not a bad play, but, there's no clear possession anywhere close to the puck right there. And, had he not bumped him, the puck race would have been won by the ZSC skaters. So pretty solid call. What a keep in by Haldeen.
See if they can get anything going. No net front presence here. It's Tony now trying to get in front. That one down low. Nobody home. The Epi can't clear. Kermit in front scores! It is Tony, the defender, in front. 7th of the year. Want to get another look at that one, but ZSC now 2 unanswered goals.
And the puck just kind of squirted out. It was a great bit of work down low. Then it was a wraparound bid that kind of kicked out, as you see sometimes when the puck didn't quite go on net, and Tony was right there. And that's just kind of what the set of ZSC looks like. They kind of go with an umbrella form and put Tony down low, in towards the slot as they kick a forward up top into that the kind of the center position there to trade off with Haldeen. And as of right there, it worked out. They don't have the greatest power play percentage, but right now, a ton of momentum and a big power play goal at the end of the second.
Big hit there, led to some offensive zone time. A huge reversal of fortunes here in this second period for ZSC. Final few seconds of the period. Kermit wins this one back, banks it off the back of the goal, but can't hold on as Yergely will kill the clock. 2-1, the score here sitting heading into the third period. I mean, again, it wasn't always pretty, but ZSC getting the job done, getting the goals that they needed.
Yeah, it's just a really good job of them, answering the bell in that second period, not allowing themselves to continue to get pushed down further and further and further with, a bad start. Now, granted, it wasn't like a 3-0 start in the first period like we saw against Edinburgh when they played them. So, a bit better of fortune to work with it. The fact of the matter is they capitalized on their chances, they got the penalty shot and dangled you out. Did a great job of capitalizing on that. And then a power play shortly after that as IQUE got a bit too aggressive there with the poke on the forecheck, and as they needed to do, percentages out the window. You just focus on the power play at hand. ZSC were able to capitalize on that one, and that's just huge. They take that 2-1 lead. They don't have as much time on attack, but they have more registered shots, and that just goes to kind of show what their mentality is. And you can another quick look at that. IQUE did a good job of trying to break that one up in the slot. He went for the puck pickup, but he simply didn't get it. Tony won that, was able to slide that by Teme, and 2-1 lead now, 20 more minutes to play. IQUE are the ones now who need to try to answer this bell.
Indeed, third period underway here. Again, crucial points up for grabs. Both of these teams. That wrong side of the bracket. Good save for Fightlock as he able to punch that one out. It was continuing to rattle around in the equipment. Kermit here. Tries that cut into the middle. Just tries to speed his way past. Job by Pottsburg to take it away. Errant pass, though, opens up a window of opportunity for Dangadoo out. And a pass in front, nobody home. Tony back down low. Again, Tony again. D-to-D, that shot unfortunately blocked by his own man. And it springs IQUE free down the other way. Here's Niepi. Great breakup by Tony. And again, it's IQUE continuing to go for those forces into the slot. And ZSC doing a great job of taking it away.
Yeah, it's not always a bad idea to go with the forces in the slot, but sometimes if it's not there, you're going to have to try to open things up with perimeter passes, and right now you can see ZSC able to stretch the game out, and it's, kind of creating some rush chances, which, as if they collapse well as they are, they keep breaking up the slot.
And Kermit with a force of his own there on that sauce pass. Was broken up. IQUE can't really get anything going down the other way. This one's going to go all the way back. Precious time ticking off the clock here for IQUE. Great job by Niepi to try to take that one away. Has it there. Fires one wide. Tony for Kermit. Dangadoo out, was up ahead. Likes to go for the safer pass. And fortunately, it does allow IQUE to kind of reset.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to why he didn't pass it up to Dangadoo out. He may not have beaten him and gotten to the middle, but he at least, had a step right there and would have had some space to at least establish themselves in the offensive zone. I kind of wonder if Kermit simply didn't see it or did a misclick right there.
A bouncing puck. It is ZSC who come up with it. We're halfway through this third period. Snows the spin, the pass in front, and it's bouncing around where Teme is able to find it for the cover.
Time is ticking away here. That's the biggest enemy of IQUE, and maybe that's why they feel the need to kind of force the middle there. It's maybe they feel they don't have time or trust their offense enough to have that time to work the perimeter before they get to the middle here. So you can kind of see a little bit of the mentality for IQUE and maybe some of their kind of frustrations and hesitations over how the season has gone.
Some front shot, scores! I dangled you out, posted up in front, out muscles the competition. Senny has his second of the game. That was completely unintentional, I promise. It's 3-1 ZSC.
Well, at this point, it's everything that we mentioned when it comes to strength for this guy is going to be intentional. I mean, power forward, perhaps the biggest guns of the ECL, and 2 goals to boot in this game. One of them, slap shot on the penalty shot, and that one just bowling his way to the middle and scooping that puck home. 3-1 lead now for ZSC Esports. Time continuing to tick away here in the third, and they may not be done. Look at this aggression on the forecheck.
This is 8th of the season. Snush shot, good save by Teme. Dangled you out's 8th of the season, now tied with Kermit for the team lead in goals. And of course, funny enough, you have Tony right behind them, just 1 goal back despite being a defenseman. So certainly spreading the wealth in terms of the goal scoring effort this season. And for IQUE, then all of a sudden 6:41 to go, you've let up 3 straight goals and haven't scored since the first period.
Yeah, and that's definitely not what IQUE wanted to see in this game. Such a good start, now seemingly squandered, and they've been really unable to get back into their rhythm. And as you mentioned, maybe forcing that middle a bit too much, but at this point, they kind of have to. Time is, the biggest factor here in this one. They need a quick goal, and aggression right there is going to get them in trouble.
Chance here for ZSC. Good job by Nico to take it away, but indeed, Zurich going back to the power play. It'll be Niepi called for this trip.
Their 3rd minor penalty in this game, and definitely something that they're going to want to clean up in this second game. They came in today with the least amount of penalty minutes, but here they've taken 3 in just the first game, kind of uncharacteristic of them, and it's come back to bite them already. We'll see if it does again and put this game away.
Off the draw, turned over. And indeed, going to look for that shorthanded Betty Cavalco running out of runway. Ultimately, they like to just settle it down and clear it out, but now 5 minutes to go. Still 1.5 minutes on the CSC power play. Again, IQUE have to play it safe to clear it, but it's tough.
Yeah, they want to attack, but yeah, sometimes it's just better to clear the zone, as it was in that case right there.
Held in, Tony for Haldane. Back again. Great glove save by Teme. Able to make that reaction stop. Down low again here for Kermit. Dangled you out. Tries that short side bid. Teme able to make the cover. He's going to play it out. He'll be trying to catch the DSC team unaware. We are back to 5-on-5. Aldeem. Tony. Shot. Good save by Teme. Trying to keep his team in it. IQUE low on time and fortunately offside as well.
Yeah, a couple of passes in the neutral zone. I think it was the left winger on the opposite side who got about a step offside right there. It was not a bad attempt from IQUE, just a good, well defended by ZSC to force that many passes out, which of course slowed down the north and south play, which I believe put Niepi offside. We're going to see the timeout now coming for IQUE. So we're going to get another quick look at a replay right here. Is a really great job by Haldane, almost really baiting out the shot. Quick pass over and off of the skates. Well positioned was Teme. There's a tiny bit of space on that blocker side, but normally you'll see a defenseman aim for the far side, as he did right there. And went off the skate, and actually it turned out to be a pretty dangerous chance against Teme there. 2:25 left. IQUE need 2 goals here. They got to get to work quickly.
Off the draw, they do have possession, but again, offside, and maybe the frustration being shown there for IQUE. Again, what has started off through their first 8 games, just 2 wins. And certainly now here looking like they might fall in regulation. Definitely one of the bigger stories this season would be if this is the level that they're going to be at this year.
Yeah, absolutely. From 5 seed to right now dead last in a 2-on-1.
Kermit not able to get that pass through, but he still has possession for the moment. Good pass down low, dangled you out, trying to hold. Loose puck, Haldane for Snus. In danger of losing it, gets it back for Haldane. Tried to go across and intercepted. Now just 45 seconds to play here for IQUE, down by 2. For the first game of 2, we will have the ZSC home leg coming up. Again, a little bit later on. H-Reds taking on Havu Gaming. Pottsburg bumped off the puck. Again, more precious time ticking off the clock here for IQUE. But a big win this will be for the ZSC Esports squad here again after some inconsistency in their form as of late. 7 seconds to go, 2 points secured. A big win for ZSC Esports. And unfortunately for IQUE, still left with more questions than answers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. They got off to a great start, and then it just sort of disappeared. It all kind of started with that penalty shot, and it just sort of continued to sort of add up after that. A couple, power play opportunities. I think 2 out of the 3 goals that ZSC scored were off of the backs of infractions taken from IQUE. That's exactly what ZSC has needed to do in the course of the season that they haven't done a great job of, is making their opponents pay for mistakes like that. Again, we talked about their power play percentage coming into today is only 8.33%, which is 14th in the ECL. They get I think they go 1 for 3 in that game, as well as capitalizing off of a penalty shot. Now, obviously, penalty shot's a bit different than a power play, maybe a higher percentage for the skater to capitalize. But that being said, you still have to do it. Dangle Duout did a good job on that one. He had a very great game overall with a pair of goals, and it was just a great job from ZSC overall to not get really shaken or rattled by that early goal coming out from IQUE. They regrouped in the second period. They scored 2 goals, and then they finished it off in that third period there. And it's exactly what they need to do. 2 massive points for ZSC, who, again, had a pretty good start and find their way, a bit closer to 500 now at coming into today, 5-4-3. That moves them to 6-4-3, maybe moves them up the brackets a little bit as well, which is definitely needed as they came in, today in 11th place in the standings. This is a team who's been in the elite division for a couple seasons now. They have playoff aspirations. I mean, they kind of have always had that since being here, but it's a lot easier said than done. But they've done the first step of being in the ECL. They've stayed here. They've kept themselves out of those relegations, and now they need to make the playoffs. And it's going to take, winning against all sorts of opponents, but it's definitely going to take being able to pick up 2 points against a team that is struggling right now in IQUE.
So again, you get a look here at the goals. This ends up being the insurance goal from Dangle Duout, his second of the game, that certainly sealed the deal, and I think that'll continue to be the story. I mean, look at that, just 6 shots despite almost 6 minutes of time on attack for IQUE. It's just not a good enough ratio there unless, every single one of those chances are incredibly high quality, Sin, because again, if you're only going to get 6 shots, you got to hope to get 2 or 3 goals out of those 6 shots.
Yeah, and we've seen that at times from some of the top teams, very, very efficient because they're getting those great chances, but we didn't quite see that from IQUE. They kept going for the high-quality chances, but more often than not, that would lead to a turnover. It was a great collapse by ZSC, or they'd, even stop them on the zone entries or trying to force that first initial pass higher in the zone before really they made ZSC collapse. I think what IQUE kind of need to do is be a tiny bit more patient and also try some other angles. If you're not threatening shots from the point, then they're just going to continue to collapse happily. Like they'll even pre-collapse, as we saw ZSC doing, which will clog that middle even more. So if you're IQUE, you got to try to throw some other looks at them while still being patient. Cycle it around, go north to south a bit in the zone, pucks and bodies moving, try to spread ZSC out a bit, and that will open up the space in the middle.
First game in the books. We'll be back after a brief word from our sponsors. The second game in the home side of things for ZSC as they look to pick up 4 big points on the day. They already have 2 in the bag. We'll see what happens in this next one. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back. A big thank you, of course, for joining us. A big thank you to our sponsors as well. As Sin, we look ahead towards this next game, and I mean, we kind of talked about it. As we do, you look for those building blocks at the end of a game where you're probably going to lose at that stage. IQUE just really couldn't get into a rhythm throughout that game consistently. Now you go into the away leg, and it's one of those things where we always kind of talk about it, right? The perspective that we have on the North American side of things in terms of a server connection versus what these guys as pro players are accustomed to, and ultimately what it might mean for ZSC to have what is viewed as a home ice advantage in terms of the server that they play on. At the end of the day, while it might be tough for us to buy into that, if that is indeed true, it certainly means even more so of an uphill battle here for IQUE after a rather difficult loss. And I'll give you a chance to speak on that in a moment. But again, we want to remind you this Sunday, May 1st, again, 2-hour earlier start time, 17:45 CEST. That
I
is
love the
the
logo mashup
Fariestad
here.
ZSC Lions BK. But Fariestad will be taking on the following coal miners. And I mean, it's El Clasico, Sin, and it's certainly a different spin this time out. Frölunda takes on Havu, Flyer Kungen, playing against the team that he used to captain for the first time here in the ECL Elite Division.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious if we'll see any sort of spiciness or at least some friendly chirps going on between, Havu and Flyer King. And I'm sure, still obviously great friends and, of course, competitors through and through here. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup that you guys are simply not going to want to miss.
Absolutely. And again, a reminder of what these teams are playing for. Of course, the champion from our winter season, H-Reds, looking to also win the spring season because that grand final prize would go right to them. But again, if we have a different champion this year for this season, then H-Reds will play them in that grand final for a €10,000 prize. Still so much to play for, though, throughout this season. Again, we thank you for joining us through every step of the way. As again, we have ZSC in their home Blues, and again, a 3-1 victory for them just a few moments ago in the first game of the two that these two teams are playing. Very intrigued to see what we'll see from IQUE in this one. After, again, Sin, they scored first, but allowed 3 unanswered goals.
Yeah, and that's something that they don't want to do again.
Oh my goodness. Niepi from below the goal line hits the post on the far side, and it's covered.
Points will not be made here because IQUE just had a crazy, awkward chance that you weren't sure was going to be a chance, except it was down low in the zone here, so decent start. We'll see if they can capitalize on a bit of the momentum.
A good save there by Fightlock. I still have no idea what to make of that last opportunity. I'd love to see the puck path and how it banked off of the netminder to get there.
Yeah.
I see. I mean, I guess that kind of lends credence to what we say, Sin. Throw the puck on because you never know.
Yeah, I think it was a buffered shot from Niepi. It was a good little passing play down low. Buffered shot to the side of the net with one of those weird, slow, off-balance animations, and it shot from behind the net, just kind of went off the leg.
Short side, stands tall, nearly shoveled home last moment by IQUE. This one's going to be sent down and nearly went in clean as Teme. Not sure what he was expecting there. Incredibly close call as Haldane with the big step up leaves space for IQUE down the other way. Yergli across and Tony read it perfectly. It's still IQUE in possession. What a bizarre start to this game we have seen in terms of chances on both sides of the ice through some rather unorthodox looks as that shot attempt doesn't go through. Poke check looking to keep it alive. Let's see what happens here, and a trip is what happens. IQUE will go to the power play here as, again, it's Original Snus getting into some trouble, Sim, with the stick work.
Yeah, and he did that in the first game as well, and they cleaned it up as the game went on, but this is a major opportunity for IQUE to once again get the opening goal, and hopefully this time if they do that, they'll be able to build on it a bit better, but big kill coming up from ZSC.
Again, ZSC without their centerman as well, and it does lead to IQUE getting this early bit of attacking zone time. Good movement in front, loose puck, stopped on the line. Sid, I don't know, again, if that was another buffered shot, and of course, for those who don't know, what we mean by that is you can sit there and try to shoot, the puck gets broken up, but if it still comes to you, your guy will still shoot, leads to some awkward situations, and it makes me think that's what it was because there was a wide open side of the goal.
There absolutely was
Loose
right there.
puck! Will he be able to cover? They blow it dead. This is a goalie's worst nightmare.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Both of these goalies have to be feeling the heat right now. It's just been a puck that doesn't want to settle. It's just flying all over the place, down low near their pads, and never like to see that as a goaltender here. They're going to hope that settles down, but big clear there for ZSC on the PK.
Indeed, 40 seconds to go on the power play. Already halfway through this first period. Opportunity, and what a shot, and what a goal. IQUE picks the corner. And again, for the second time in as many games, IQUE strikes first.
I mean, blink you knew it, missed it right there. Great job by IQUE, almost using his winger over there as a bait on the one time and just ripping that one home. That's a massive, massive goal for IQUE here. Once again, they get a first period go-ahead goal. We're going to see what their the response is from ZSC, see if IQUE can hold on to this and build upon it. That's something that they desperately need to do here.
For ZSC as well, I mean, Sin, they entered play today. Good chance on the short side. Another chance, just chipped wide. Good hit there, though, by Dangle. Tony scores! Almost inevitable, the 1T from the point. We are tied at 1 apiece. What a shot, Sin. Entered play today, leading the defenders in goals. He now has 8 on the season.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there is a reason why this guy is leading defenseman 4 goals, and that right there is a big one. Perfect timing, perfect job to get himself in a position to present the angle for the pass to set up that one-timer there. He does what you're supposed to do as a defenseman there. Get the one-timer, go far side, catch the goalie sliding. It helps that that was a near perfectly placed shot with tons of power on it. We got a tie game here.
And a big save by Fightlock as that one found its way through. Sin, I was going to say, for ZSC, they entered play today with the 3rd most penalty minutes, 43. I think they're already over 50 now on the season. Certainly need to cut that out because, I mean, the goal scorings here today just need to, stop helping the opposition with those advantages. That one goes all the way back, and a bit of a frustration moment there for Pottsburg.
Yeah, he kind of held on too long to the slap shot, lost the puck, and then tried to pass it back in and goes all the way back down.
Pottsburg, Cavalco, shot scores! Nieppe able to pick the corner, his 2nd of the year, and it's just top shelf shot after top shelf shot.
Yeah, we thought we were hoping for the goalie's sake that this game would have settled down a bit from the crazy bounces that we saw in the first half of the period. Well, now they're just having to, move laterally and then getting beat on the top corner right there. That was Nieppe there, not quite on the one time. He let the puck settle on his stick and then went for the shot that may have actually helped him there as Fightlock slid over. An excellent job, and 2-1 for IQUE, gaining that lead right back here in the first.
Again, IQUE doing what they couldn't do in that prior game, getting that 2nd goal. Offense has certainly looked a bit more potent. Fightlock have beaten to that glove side twice now as well. And finding a weak spot here to exploit. There's a chance here. Jurgeli went for that between the legs move. D to D, and that one picked off by the defender. Good quick movement. Kermit drop pass for Tony, and right back to him. Skating there by Kermit, banks it off the back of the goal on a buffered shot. Short side bid poked away. We approach the final minute here in the first period. The puck held in by Nieppe, takes the hit. Maybe one more chance on the offensive side of things for ZSC. Talk about buffered shots. It's been the theme of the first period. Cavalco broken up, bouncing around, loose puck. Nervous moments for both goaltenders. Maybe fortunate to only have 3 goals allowed between the two of them. We'll get a look at ZSC's only goal of the period. Again, it is IQUE with a 2-1 lead after 20.
And that was an absolute beauty there from the point coming out from Tony, but they now still have to battle back in this one. It was IQUE who were able to get that other goal. Came off of the back of Nieppe, who we saw right there, just kind of caught that pass, delayed a bit for the shot, moved over slightly to give himself a better angle, and was able to pick the corner as well, which was, oh, that wasn't the power play goal. Sorry, the power play goal came from Cavalco a bit earlier when he made his snipe, but nonetheless, that was just a massive goal from Nieppe, and they take that lead back and they carry it into the dressing room, as they did in the first game. They had a 1-goal lead going into the second here, but now at this point, they want to try to maintain it. They've done a good job. They've got the time and attack, and they have the shot to back it up, too. They're being much more aggressive when it comes to taking shots, and I think that in turn is pulling ZSC out of position, like you and I were talking about between games there for a minute, Toogie, and I think that's doing a good job to help them so far. We're going to have to see ZSC, see if they can stop that, gain some momentum of their own, and get their own offensive zone cycles, because they just have 1 registered shot.
Good chance there. Shot scores! What an effort by Jurgeli! And in front of goal, it's Pottsburg. The defender makes it 3-1 in favor of IQUE. Wide open net to shoot at. What a response here from IQUE here in game 2.
And you'd love to see that aggression, coming out from Pottsburg early on into this second period there. He gets onto the pinch immediately, parks himself on the back door, and the man cutting to the middle while he lost the puck, it went straight to Pottsburg's stick, and he just had a nice little gaping cage to shoot at, and he did just that. 3-1 now for IQUE.
Work by Yergely there, body possession shot, scores! Yergely setting him up, his teammates knocking him down. IQUE add another one. It's 4-1 as Nieppe joins in on the fun.
And the floodgates are opening right now. ZSC's got to do something to stop this massive swing of momentum that IQUE has found here. They took that, late goal in the first period and carried it over here to get 2 early on in the second. Have we even hit the 15-minute mark here? I don't know, not even close. Not even 2 minutes gone in the second period, and IQUE have already scored 2 more goals. ZSC need to stop the bleeding.
An incredible turn of events here. A 4-1 lead for IQUE now in this one. Thought there might be a penalty there as Snos with a strong check to the numbers gets away with one, and you look there, I mean, IQUE, such a strong start here in this second period. Plenty of time for ZSC, but 3 goals is always going to be difficult to come back from. Yergely again drives to the net. As the puck, Cavalco the backhand denied. Yergely continuing to be the setup man here. Loose puck bouncing around. Haldim able to settle it. So he gets it back. Again, it was IQUE striking first. CSC tied it a few moments later, and since then, it's been all IQUE. Good poke check there by Cavalco. This is the IQUE sin that we're used to seeing. Again, the team that, as you mentioned, finished 5th in our winter season, but entered play today in dead last. Certainly uncharacteristic of them. So here's Cavalco one more time. Tried to go to the point, takes the hit. Let's see, for right now for ZSC, not much going in the past few minutes. Bouncing puck, still loose, and Teme able to cover it.
Yeah, it was about as best as they could have gotten right there, or have gotten in the last few minutes, as you're saying. They just kind of forced their way to the middle there, tried to get a swipe at it, but Teme shut that down and covered it up for the draw.
See what happens here. Very important face-off about midway through this game. Tony couldn't pull the trigger on the shot. So a scramble for it here. A lot of physical play down low. CSC just not able to find any space in the attacking zone. Here's Yergely, loses it, gets it back. Thought he might want the wraparound, short side bid for Cavalco, and a clutch save for Fightlock.
He absolutely just got that pad on it. He didn't completely have that short side closed off. There was some space, but that's a massive save right there, giving the team a chance to maybe climb their way back in this one.
Picked up here by Kermit again, nowhere to go. Does get it back, though. Dangled you out. Kermit tried to throw one on. That was broken up. Again for IQUE, a much better all-around team performance here in the second game as we are over the halfway point. It's still a long way to go. Plenty of time for ZSC to battle back, at the very least, needing a goal here before the end of this period to really kind of kickstart things.
Yeah, we're seeing them fall into the same trap we saw IQUE in, just trying to force the middle too early there. Nice shot by Kermit, but glove down by Teme, and I think they're really feeling the heat is ZSC. They're, once they get into the zone, if they get down low, they immediately try to feed the slot here, but they got Tony or Haldim wide open on the points. I think they need to go back up top and then maybe send it back down low or just rip some shots on it or something.
Kermit still fighting for this one, gets it back down low, dangled you out. To the point, Haldim to Tony, his shot blocked down. You able to get it out, Cavalco. And now for Nieppe, not able to hold on. That pass off the mark. It's IQUE right back in possession. Delayed call as well. It goes from bad to worse for Zurich.
Yeah, I was just going to... okay, well, it wasn't a hitting penalty. I was just going to kind of compliment their physicality there as... Oh, that wasn't a hit at all. That was an awkward-looking trip right there, and that will be, Kermit sitting in the box now for ZSC. And if IQUE score here, it'd be hard-pressed to really be able to see ZSC getting back in this one.
Let's see what happens on this power play bid for IQUE. 4-1. Doesn't have the scoreline out of reach. 5-1. Certainly assume would be enough. It's Tony really giving it a full effort here for that shorthanded bid. And neither team with all that impressive numbers in terms of special teams units heading into the action as well. With 1:13 to go on the power play, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if kind of anything happens here. I mean, against in 4:42 to go, and a goal for either side would certainly kind of set up this third period. Cavalco nearly breaking through.
Great play by Haldim. I mean, I really like that effort from Mika Falco, just trying to quickly split the D there and get a one-on-one situation with the goaltender. Excellent bit of poking coming out from Haldim to break that one up.
Again, back into the attacking zone, only momentarily. Loose puck. Who's going to come up with it? The answer's IQ with Yergely. 10 seconds on the man advantage. Nico, and another trip there. Cavalco dragged down. It'll be 1 second of 5-on-3. It's Tony going to the box.
If they win that face-off, if they have a set play in mind, that's enough time to be able to pull it off. So we'll see what IQ has in mind here. Looks like they're going with a normal set, though.
Again, huge opportunity if they can win this draw. Face-off says UC, very close. Off the tie-up, Yergely unfortunately overskated it, and Snus is able to clear. Lucky break there for a ZSC.
And if you're ZSC, as much as you want to attack, look at those stamina bars. What a poke there for Snus.
Can he get anything going? Tried to go far side, ran out of room. Kermit throws one on. Forces the save from Teme, who plays it out. Decent pressure, but not able to find that shorthanded goal. Nico tried to go back in front. Snus is there to pick it off again. ZSC elect to clear with 2 minutes to play here in the second. Cavalco now. Let's go back over to his right. It's Yergely. Might have an assist on every single IQ goal. Shot from the point. Good save by Fightlocka. We are back to 5-on-5 as we hit the final minute here in this second period. Again, a 3-1 win for ZSC in game one. They trail 4-1 here. Final moments. Good interception by Haldim, who goes down. No desire from IQ to touch the puck. Smart place, and as it would have given ZSC some time in the offensive zone if they won the draw. 4-1 the score heading into the third.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good play to just let that kind of kill out. You have to start the power play in the neutral zone, which is obviously never an ideal situation. But still, at the same time, it could be a breath of life for ZSC if they are able to find a way to score. They're one step closer, but they still have to make up 3 goals in this one. It is a 4-1 lead for IQ. They just had a tremendous period, that one, with those early goals, and yeah, good IQ from IQ.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off to type that, but I also couldn't not let it go. I couldn't let it go. I had to say it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, we love our puns here at Sports Gamer, and perhaps no one more so than Tugi and myself here. But perhaps if you're ZSC, you're not liking the puns so much right now. You're not liking your performance so much either. Down 4-1 here with some just beautiful plays from Yergely. I mean, to set those up, I mean, the finishes were great, but really, Yergely and his assists were just phenomenal. Just a great bit of playmaking here. You can see why he was coming into today leading his team in assists with 5, and definitely has added a few more to that total, to say the least.
And I think all of those who have been kind enough to join us here today would agree there's nothing pun about losing in NHL 22. As they scramble for the puck here in the slot, IQ able to clear, and what an important power play this is for ZSC. I mean, a great opportunity to kind of kickstart a third period comeback. Wouldn't be the only comeback we've seen from a 3-goal deficit in the third period this season as it is.
Yeah, and right now they're just being read like a book by IQ. Everything that they want to try to do, IQ just right there to break it up, and just one more rush on the power play already, and just an errant pass will lead to its demise.
Well, if there's anybody who I'd presume knows how to read a lot of books, it would be the members of IQ. As Yergely into the attacking zone again, went for that spin pass. It's worked out to perfection so far in this game. It was finally broken up on that attempt. It's the Epi here. Again, has it for IQ. Cavalco back for Yergely. Low in the corner, takes a big hit. And a good sauce pass up to Kermit. Shot on. Good kick save by Teme and forced to cover. Like to see that, though, from ZSC.
Absolutely. I like that from Kermit. Just kind of cut in the middle, get a quick shot on. You never know what could find the back of the net, but most importantly, you just, throwing something on Teme and they get an offensive zone draw out of it.
Clean win. Backhand broken up. Might have had some open net to shoot at there. Loose puck in front again, thrown on. Teme, another save. He holds on.
Excellent job by, I think that would have been Nico there on the defense to kind of box out, dangled you out, and prevent him from getting to that backhand to put it on to Teme. That could have been a goal to cut that deficit by one extra one and make it 4-2, but didn't work out.
Another shot, another save. Love to see this, though, from ZSC. The ability, Sin, to just throw pucks on, try to change things up, see what happens. Certainly what they need to look to do. This one goes back into the neutral zone. 14 minutes to play. Start thinking on that mental clock there of how soon we need to score. Go full Pierre Maguire. Say, hey, if we score in 4 minutes, we'll be good. Again, dangled you out. He drops back. That big physical presence and a penalty called. An IQ. Going to go back to the power play for a slash.
And that's about as unfortunate as it gets right there. And yeah, it's not the greatest location to take a stick lift for Kermit. I'm sure he knows it, but when you're so desperate to try to get that puck back, you kind of just throw everything at the wall. And fortunately for them, they'll have to sit shorthanded once again here with time ticking away in this third period.
Off the draw. Good physical contact there to break it up. IQ score. This one's certainly over. ZSC, we know, aren't going to be afraid to look for a shorthanded bid. That one chipped towards goal, played by Teme, and right back into that corner. Smart move. At the very least for IQ, I mean, sure, you want to get that power play percentage up and get the goal that'll seal the deal, but at the very least, important time ticking off the clock as that one's blocked. Valko sends it back around. 30 seconds to go on the man advantage. Jurgeli again wanted to go in front. Tony was able to break it up. Let's see what Snus can do. Able to walk that tightrope at the blue line to gain the zone. Has it down low. Fortunately, way too much pressure. We are back to 5-on-5. Now halfway through this third period. The big outlet pass. Kermit is onside. Snus couldn't pull the trigger. That's a second chance. But Teme stuck with him.
And that's the chance right there, if you're original Snus, that you are going to want back and you'll be thinking about for a long time in this one if you aren't able to mount the comeback. That was an in-tight opportunity snuffed out by Teme.
We'll see what happens here now as the puck played around. Let's see what IQ can do, and they don't have to do anything. It's an own goal as it goes from bad to worse. 5-1 in favor of IQ. A huge moment there. I'm hoping we'll get another look at it, although from ZSC's perspective, probably not one that you want to watch back. That is a tough break, to say the least, as, again, it goes from bad to worse, now 5-1 in favor of IQ.
Yep, and that just might seal the deal, and that's extremely a momentum-shattering goal as well for any bit of momentum that you would have felt you had as ZSC. That right there just kind of sucks all of the wind out of your sails, and with less than 10 left and a missed pass right there, it's just, I think we see the writing on the wall in this one.
That puck down low in the corner. A great response from IQ in this game after a rather disappointing first result. Certainly what they needed. Try and battle back into this season. It's certainly not too far gone. A lot of games to make up compared to what some other clubs have played so far. Again, for them, you have to wonder how quickly the tides turn from playoff ambition to just staying in the elite division without having to fight for their survival. Nieppe has that one poked away. Great job there by Hall Deem. And now if you're ZSC as well, always thinking about goal differential. You're not going to win this one. Getting a goal back could certainly help. Wraparound bid doesn't go. Teme able to cover. He'll play it out. Good job there by Nico as he's able to help, really able to take a hold of the situation. Again, just the creativity from IQUE and their forwards on display much, much more. Jurgeli continuing to feather passes through the defense. Been a clinic from him.
Absolutely, and really from both the wingers of IQUE as they're using the L skating off the boards to great effect to feed those passes through. And if not that, even when they lose the puck on there, sometimes it still drifts to a fortuitous location for either the center or all the way across to the opposite winger to get their stick on it and even put a shot on.
So we have hit the final minute of play here. Again, an explosion of offense in the second period for IQUE, really sealing the deal. Short side bid doesn't go. And Jurgeli through, shot, scores on the backhand. 6-1 in favor of IQUE. What a turnaround.
Well, we've been waiting for their offense to kind of wake up. How does 6 goals in a game sound if you're IQUE? And if you're on the side of ZSC, that's kind of how the second game has felt. They had a pretty nice chance at the other end on the short side. Dangled out, just couldn't quite get the angle on it correctly, and then goes back the other way. And a backhand goal coming out from Jurgeli, who gets himself on the goal-scoring sheet as he's been all over the place. 4 assists in this one, and I mean, it's been over, but that's just a little bit more icing on the cake, or if you're ZSC, a little bit more salt in the wound.
Not sure. He might have a point on all 6 goals. Deflection, big save by Teme. Tony again back for Haldim. Stuck on the backhand, held it for too long. And it is Jurgeli, certainly IQUE's MVP on the day. As it is a huge 2 points, maybe one more chance. They won't get the shot off. A gigantic victory for IQUE after dropping that first game. These two teams both walk away with 2 points on the day.
Yep, and that's about as good as a result as maybe you could have hoped for if you're IQUE after that first one. Well, obviously, but I mean, even coming into today, I think both these teams wanted more. It's not bad from either of them, but especially if you're ZSC, only getting 2 points out of a matchup like this with a team that's in last place. If you want to be a playoff team, you need at least 3 points out of this matchup, and you'd prefer to get the double here. And this was just kind of a second game where, arguably they had the advantage with the whole server advantage thing, but it didn't play out like that, on the ice whatsoever here as IQUE was just dancing with the puck. Oh, excuse me, Jurgeli, for the most part, was just dancing with the puck and feeding his teammates, and they were just tapping them in again and again and again. And poor Fightlocker there, not a whole lot he could have done on some of those plays. It was just an absolute clinic being put on by the offensive IQUE. A big 2 points that they need to start trying to work their way back at the standings. If you're, ZSC, yep, 2 points is nice. But, 2 out of a possible 4 today against the dead last place team. You gotta, feel like you needed more in this scenario, but they are still in the hunt.
Again, a huge result as, fortunately for ZSC, not sure this is what they want to do, but looking back through the goals, again, IQUE started off strong. It was that shot right there from Ikavalko. I mean, picture perfect, this Fightlocker. Again, maybe just a last-second adjustment or perhaps reading the pass on the far side. And this was, unfortunately, the only bright spot for ZSC, this picture-perfect shot from Tony. Again, very similar on the glove side with the goalie moving to the right.
Yeah, and that's just basically what you want to see out of those one-time situations if you're a left defenseman, creep in just a little bit to open the angle up and, get that shot away. And that one was a great response coming out from IQUE, just corralling that pass instead of immediately going for the one-timer, and then Fightlocker with his adjustment, he's able to go back for the far side here, and you're seeing that bit of L skating coming out from Jurgeli. Just a beautiful play. See, that wasn't even technically a pass, but the way he was moving towards the inside, opening up the space, the way he had positioned his body there, allowed that puck to skitter over and be tapped in. There's another beautiful bit of L skating, which led to that pass through traffic and being knocked in by the captain of IQUE, and that was just phenomenal. Just, again, a phenomenal bit of execution there, and of course getting rewarded a goal for himself as well at the tail end there on the breakaway. And 6 goals off 14 shots with 7 minutes of time on attack. That's a much better shot total coming out from IQUE than we saw from them in the first game, which is what they need to do. And obviously they capitalize on it a heck of a lot more as well.
So with that, our first 2 games are in the books. Again, coming up in just a few moments, it is our 2-time defending champions in HRETS taking on Havu Gaming. A very important run of games here for Havu, of course, again, this Sunday as well. Coming up, they take on Frölunda. So a very important time for them. We'll see what's in store for them in just a few moments. We'll be back after a brief intermission. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us.